What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Combo Show Live. I am Kevin Britton, host of the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive. Be sure to tune in every Sunday and Wednesday for all of your Chiefs content right here on Stadium Drive Sports. Hey, Sean, let them know.
Hey, how's it going, Kansas City and fans around the nation of the Royals? Royals Empire extends around the globe, I tell you. You can always catch the Royal Way, a great presentation on the Royal stats, news, updates, pictures, and entertainment, all for you here on Stadium Drive Sports on Mondays. I'll have it going on Thursdays as well as we begin the season.
Perfect. And then you guys can always tune in to catch me and Sean together on the Combo Show. We go live every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time. We're here to interact with anybody that may have some questions or comments that they want. And also you can catch us on Fridays on our recorded episodes as well. And if you guys do like the content, be sure to subscribe, like the videos if you like them, and be sure to share it. Put it out on your social media. Let people know, hey, go check these guys out. We would appreciate it very much. We just want to be able to be a fan with the fans. So that is what we are here for. But how you doing today, Sean?
I'm doing good, man. The weather was really great out there. I was happy for that. Hopefully we don't see any more of that snow around anymore.
Was it
a big fan of the cold? No.
Nice today? For anybody that doesn't know, I'm from Kansas City. I moved a few years ago out to Salt Lake City, Utah. So not too bad out today. We got our snow out of the way a few days ago, but Kansas City was nice today.
Yes, very enjoyable. I had to get out there in the weather just to enjoy it. I had nothing to do, but I was like, man, I'm going to try to go outside and try to figure something out. I'm going to go get something to eat, drive around it. Believe it or not, I was joyriding. I was the only one around the whole nation that was doing that with the gas prices the way they are, but you know.
That's hilarious. Before we jump into the sports stuff, I heard something actually just a little bit ago where they passed a bill to where they're looking to get rid of the daylight savings time. It still got a couple steps to go, but they're looking to get rid of it and no longer have to change the clocks. And just the way we have it set now is kind of how it would be.
I'm glad that if it was going to be changed, it'd be set to the summertime hours. I like it with the sun being out later. I hate when the sun goes down at 6 o'clock, 5:30. It's ridiculous. It feels like you lose so much of the day. But then the old people say, "Well, wake up earlier."
Oh, I need my sunlight at the end of the day so I can do my barbecuing.
Yes,
that's the way I see it. But let's hop right in. We have some Chiefs news, got a little bit of Royals news as well. First off, Sean, as our resident MLB and Royals expert, congratulations on the fact that you actually have a season.
Yes, man, I was all up in arms for a while. All of us were like, what is going on? Are they ever going to figure it out? Are we going to get a 140-game season, 162, no season at all? I'm so glad that I don't really have to talk about the CBA anymore as well. You know, it's a bunch of stuff, but it's good to have these changes. Changes are inevitable, man. The players are changing. They're getting bigger, stronger, faster, and all that. So there's change right there, and you're going to have to adapt anyways. And there's so many ways you can adapt with these sports with their fans, you know, and the interaction between the fans and the sport is key for me. I would like to see more changes about the mics on the players. I really love that. The stuff they experiment, and maybe some helmet cams on the catchers would be pretty cool too. So the thing about it is we're not going to have to wait until a new CBA agreement in 2026 to have some changes in the league. Rob Manfred has made it to where it's only going to take about 45 days at the most to make a change, because he's going to get this group together, player representative and umpire and league representative together, and they'll come together on agreement on some of these changes and try to get them out like that. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll hop into the Chiefs content here in just a second for you guys, but real quick, Sean, a question that I had posed to you a couple times, we got an answer to. I had talked to you about the shortstop and second base and the fact that we have so many players that can play there.
Yeah.
And I heard it announced today that Mondesi will be the shortstop, Lopez will be the second baseman, which means Bobby Witt Jr. will very likely be our third baseman.
Man, that guy's got an arm on him. He must, because Adalberto Mondesi does. He can throw like a 90-something mile an hour fastball. And I saw something earlier about how Mondesi was just praising this kid, saying, yeah, this guy's fast, he's athletic. And so, yeah, I really see that happening. And with the fact that they've made this other change to where we can get some extra picks in the lottery draft if we have our star players play on opening day and they win some high awards. So
Yeah, I saw that
that's
on your
more
last
incentive
episode.
that's more incentive for Bobby Witt to come out on opening day. So
Yeah. Actually, I have a quote from Mondesi. He was asked about Bobby Witt Jr., and his quote was, "He's a star. What can I say? Everybody knows it." So I definitely look forward to a lot of highlight, a lot of talk, and really just good publicity for the Royals with Bobby Witt Jr. I think we have a strong candidate potentially for Rookie of the Year. So it's going to be an exciting year on the Royal side for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we'll have a lot more discussions on the Royals in the future as the season approaches, but it is NFL free agency frenzy. So there is some Chiefs news to get into. If you guys saw my videos from yesterday, there was a whirlwind coming through at the end of the day for the Chiefs. So the first kind of big news that broke was Justin Reed, safety from the Houston Texans, is now a Kansas City Chief. We are signing him to a 3-year deal. It's $31.5 million. So basically equals out to $10.5 million per year. Stud. He's a young stud. He's kind of what I've been saying that I want with that youth, that athleticism. He can play over the top, play a deep safety. He can come down. He can play in the nickel when need be. He can play in the box. I think this is going to allow for a little more flexibility. I think you're going to see a lot of him and Thornhill both mixing it up, coming down into that robber role that Matthew always played and playing over the top. So I think we're going to get to see more of a blend between our two safeties. Any thoughts on the Justin Reed signing or the departure of Tyron Matthew?
I remember seeing Reed in the backfield for Houston, kind of reminiscent of Reed from Baltimore or whatever, Ed Reed. He's not nearly as good as him, but, hopefully he can make an impact like him there on the top of the defense. But I haven't seen too much from him to where I can judge him, so it'll be interesting to watch him. How young is he? Is he pretty young?
He's 25. He's coming off his rookie contract, so we're getting a guy fresh off that rookie deal. So definitely a good one to have. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, I want youth on that defensive side. I said it in my predictions video. Like, I'm a huge Matthew fan, but I did think, it's time to move on. It's time to get younger. It's exactly what we did. And I think Reed is a great fit for taking that spot that Matthew was in. He doesn't bring quite the level of leadership, knowledge, like all of that comes with experience.
Yeah.
But I think if you compared him to where Matthew was at the age of 25, I think it's about as similar as you can possibly get. So I'm super stoked to have Reed on the team. And go check highlights. There's, I want to say it was 2 years ago. Boy, he laid a lick on Tyreek Hill. Feel free to check out the highlights on that one. You'll be like, I remember that one. Didn't realize that was Justin Reed, but yes, welcome.
Was it during the playoff game there?
Yeah, laid a lick on him cutting across.
Yeah, gosh, he was right there near the sidelines, and he was off his feet, and he had him right on the shoulder, and he just right to the ground. And I promise you, I was up there selling beer in row 342 on the opposite side of the field, and I felt it from there. I'm telling you, it was one hard hit. So that was who put it on him, huh?
Yeah, it was Justin Reed that laid that lick. So he can bring some thunder. He's got yeah, he's got good agility. He's got pretty decent speed. Like I said, he has the awareness. Like, he is everything that you want in a 25-year-old safety. So very happy about that. There's one I'm not happy about, and maybe I'm in the minority on this one. The money thing, money-wise, it makes sense. But Frank Clark restructured 2 years, up to $36 million. I believe it's like a $27 million on the low end, but we're not getting a revamp of the defensive line when we're already having 2 of the same 4 starters, right? If we would have only had 2 new starters off of the offensive line last year, would you have called that a revamp?
No.
No. So that part I don't like. But again, money-wise, it makes sense. Basically, we're spending $2 to $3 million on Frank Clark above what his dead cap would be if we just let him walk.
Okay.
Right. So like I get that part. If we would have cut him, it would have been 13 million down the drain. We would have spent 10 million on somebody else. That's 23 million. Like I get where the math goes and why it makes sense, but I'm holding out hope that we restructured him so that it's a reasonable contract and we can trade him. I think it's very unlikely, but I'm holding out hope because again, I've said it. You can't replace Frank Clark with Frank Clark and expect to get better. Would you agree? How do you feel about Frank Clark being back in the fold?
When I think of Frank Clark, I don't really think of consistency game in and game out. What he'll do is like he'll show up for a third down sack when we really needed it, and then you'll see him be real animate and get the players psyched up, and all of that is good. But it's kind of like the guy who hits for 220 and gets them home runs in those clutch times, and they're like, "Oh man, that guy's a hitter!" Gosh, when you watch the whole season, you're like, "Well, I don't know."
Yeah. So we'll continue to see what happens. On a brighter note for me, again, I think I'm in the minority on this one, but I am happy to see Charvarius Ward no longer a Kansas City Chief. He has signed a deal with the San Francisco 49ers. 3 years, $42 million. He's making $14 million a year.
He's making a lot of money now.
Yeah, like kudos to you, Charvarius. Like, go get that bag. Like, I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset with you getting that money. I'm glad the Chiefs aren't the ones that are paying $14 million. And a lot of Chiefs fans are upset and really wish that we would have got Ward back. Just like I'm upset that Clark is back. But I think if we really stop and really look at this, what it's really telling me is it's been very wishful thinking for Chiefs fans to think that the Chiefs are going to do something different than what they've done in the past. You've heard all the talk about we need a big receiver, right?
Oh, yeah. Year in and year out.
I don't see it happening. Because we're like, this is showing like we brought back Clark. Mm-hmm. We want a big edge setter. That's why we brought him back. We don't necessarily want a speed rusher. We're not going to pay cornerbacks. That's why we let Ward walk. So don't expect us to go make some big splash move at cornerback. We're not going to spend money there. I would be very surprised if we drafted in the first 2 rounds a cornerback. It's not prioritized, hasn't been in the past. Let's not expect that that's going to change. Mm-hmm. We haven't went out and got any big body wide receiver unless you want to talk about Josh Gordon. But Gordon's re-signed, so there's our big body receiver. Don't expect us to go make a big splash move for another big body wide receiver. I still think Juju makes total sense. Mm-hmm. Juju still kind of fits the mold as well. But how do you feel about this Chiefs secondary with Ward now in San Francisco?
With Ward, he was kind of a consistent player to me, but the thing about it is he'd always hand in the test and get it back with a B- on it every single time. It got old. So yeah, with him gone and Tyron Matthew now gone, I think that the way we're going to plug it in is going to be youth, like you said. So I think that I wouldn't be surprised if we do a lot of draft picks with the secondary. What I'm more worried about is the fact on cornerback, how are we going to replace Ward, and is it going to be a draft pick or not? Because if it is going to be a draft pick, he's going to be picked on, and you're only as good as your weakest link. And gosh, those Chiefs secondary, they find a way to just find the right guy and just pick on him each time. Are we just going to see a new face, a new guy to get picked on? I'm tired of seeing it, so I would rather see us sign a veteran. But like you said, it looks like we're probably just going to go all young, and we'll see how that works out.
Yep, we definitely don't like to pay big, don't like to spend high draft capital on it. You look at like Ward was an undrafted free agent, Fenton was a late round pick, Snead was a 4th round pick. He's the highest asset that we've had at corner. We had Breland, we brought him in on a low cost deal. As soon as he wanted more money, we let him go. We did the same thing, 3 years ago with Kendall Fuller. So it's been the trend. Like, I don't expect that to change.
You're not lying. That's come to light right now, and I didn't realize that. And that's exactly what we do. We actually kind of build up their career, though, because they look good playing for the Chiefs. And then somebody just signs them, like, oh, my gosh, we got the Chiefs player. Yeah, but you got Charvarius Ward, dummy.
That's funny because I know you're a lot like you're higher on Ward than I am. Like,
he was B- ain't bad. B- ain't bad, but it's still not an A. So
I'm already worried. Looking like 2-3 years down the road, I'm already worried now about what happens when Snead's rookie deal runs out. Because I think like out of everybody that I mentioned, I think Snead is the one that is like legitimate potential like stud.
Yeah.
Like top 10 corner in the league type of stud. So he's the only one out of that whole group that I can categorize like that. So I'll be interested to see when his contract's up here in a couple of years. Do we give him the bag or do we give him the boot?
Yeah, we'll have to see if his numbers are still good. He has some really good numbers when they dig down into those statistics. The broadcasters will just announce it and say, wow, Snead is only allowed this many passes and whatnot. And he's always one of the best defenders for these last couple of years for the Chiefs. And he was under the radar at first. Now it seems like he's becoming a household name.
Yeah, definitely. So, again, I don't expect the Chiefs to really waver away from what their philosophies have been, no matter what we hope as fans. So, just to set the stage, we are not going to spend big money at all on cornerback. We're just going to have to deal with it. I would say we're unlikely to take a corner in the 1st or 2nd round. Again, history can typically tell us the future in that aspect. As a fan, I will hold out hope that we take an early draft pick on a corner because I do think it would be beneficial. But let's not hold out hope. We're not going to go get a big body stud wide receiver. Hasn't happened in the past. Don't expect it in the future. I think we'll stick with those guys. Now, you said you're curious on what are we going to do with our other cornerback spot now that Ward's gone.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, the way our team really kind of shook itself out is we did it kind of differently, right? So we had Snead basically on the outside with Ward on the outside on the other side. But as soon as it was a 3 wide receiver set, we brought in Fenton. Snead went to the inside. So our outsides at that point were Fenton and Ward. Okay, so doing things a little different than some teams. Now, I don't think this is a huge change, so I think this is doable. I think it's very possible that they stop sliding Snead into the slot, keep him on the outside. So I'm comfortable with Snead as the outside on one and Fenton on the outside on the other, and we could just bring in a strictly like slot type of corner. So at that point, if you want to break down 1st, 2nd, 3rd corner, that would put us in need of a 3rd corner, not necessarily a number 2.
That's a better way of looking at it right there, because I think that Snead will be able to fill that spot right there.
Agreed.
Fenton will be able to do a good job. They're both good, so
yeah. Dude, I'm totally like thrown off on what I'd really want to do with Snead, because like the idea of him like on the outside sounds amazing because he's a great corner at this point for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But he's also very good in the slot and plays the run very effectively. You don't get to play the run quite in the same manner from the outside as you do in the slot. So.
Yeah, those flats too. He's real good in the flats.
Right.
He's got a good eye for missiling in on those screens.
Yeah.
Just like Matthew was.
Right. So we'll see what they ultimately do there. A couple other very kind of small things on the Chiefs to talk about as well. Mike Burton's back, still carrying a fullback. We're one of few teams, but still carrying a fullback.
Good.
I think Mike perfectly fine. I like Mike Burton. Pringle and Darrell Williams are both testing free agency. So we'll see what happens out there for them. I've always thought Pringle would be back. I am not so sure now at all because the wide receiver market is ridiculous right now. Like, they're getting overpaid left and right. Now, mostly it's Jacksonville overpaying for wide receivers. They brought in Christian Kirk on a ridiculous deal. I don't even remember what it is off the top of my head, but Christian Kirk is getting paid. The dude's never had a 1,000-yard season, but he is getting paid. They're paying Zay Jones way too much too.
Zay Jones.
So, yeah,
he's never been on somebody's fantasy draft list that high. Zay Jones.
No, and I look at Zay Jones kind of very similar to how I would look at Byron Pringle if I'm looking at receivers.
Yeah.
And who I want to bring in. Like, I would assume that their contracts are going to be fairly similar. You know what I mean? They're not too far off. Let me see if I can find what his contract he just got is real quick. Bear with me. 3 years, $30 million. Zay Jones is getting $10 million per year.
Oh my gosh.
So even if you look at him higher than Pringle, like, I would have to assume based on that, if that is the market, Pringle's going to be getting at least $7 million, which to me is insane.
Yeah.
But hopefully, you know, the Chiefs or whoever it is that, you know, can basically just say, hey, we can't base the market on what Jacksonville does. Not everybody is going to be making ridiculous moves like Jacksonville.
Yeah. I'm really disappointed in our last year's draft pick, Powell from Florida, that wide receiver.
Clemson.
Clemson, yeah. I really thought he was going to show up and have a touchdown or two, you know, but he's non-existent. Didn't we get him like the third round, I think?
No. He was a fifth.
Oh,
sixth.
okay.
He was a late round pick.
Never mind. I thought he might have been like a third, but if he's late in the rounds like that, okay, yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure he was fifth because it was Kando was a fourth. I think that Powell was a fifth, and then
Trey Smith was maybe the third.
Trey Smith was a sixth, and then Noah Gray was like a sixth or a seventh as well, I believe. Don't quote me on the Noah Gray one. It was still day 3, but. We'll see. Powell could make a run at it this year. You know, there's just no info on him being on the practice squad whatsoever. I don't know what type of progress he made this past year. So we'll see in training camp. Some other moves in the AFC West of note, though, and I'll let you know these moves. You let me know how much of an impact it has and how much it scares you as a Chiefs fan. So the Chargers signed J.C. Jackson, most coveted cornerback that there was in the free agent market out of New England. And they also got Khalil Mack. And then the Broncos, obviously, they got Russell Wilson at quarterback. They also got Randy Gregory, which the Randy Gregory thing was funny, defensive end from the Cowboys. His side and the Cowboys both kind of announced that he was coming back to the Cowboys. But then the Cowboys did some sort of like tweak in the verbiage of the contract, and Gregory bailed on the contract and signed with Denver instead. So turned out to not be a great look on Dallas's side. Now they said, no, it's basic verbiage that we have in everybody's contracts. So I don't know what the big deal is. He say, she say, I don't know who to believe on that one, but Wilson and Gregory to the Broncos, J.C. Jackson and Khalil Mack to the Chargers being the most notable changes that have occurred in the West. What do you think? Either one of those scare you? Do you feel like those teams have improved with those changes enough to give us a little more fits?
Nah, I think everybody's going to make some changes. That's just theirs. You know, we're going to make changes of our own. And although it hasn't been too many any players brought in, it's more players that we've gotten rid of, except for that safety. Safety is good, you know. But no, it doesn't scare me. Not too much at all. But what if there was something to be scared about? it would probably be Denver with the fact that they just got Russell Wilson and then this guy comes. You wonder if it's going to be a wave effect of players coming on. Hey, let's just bandwagon over to Denver. And that kind of scared me. But besides that, nah.
Yeah, the thing about Denver, like, they have a pretty solid team. Now, if you ask around, their kind of weakness right now would be, their offensive line isn't stellar. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but our pass rush isn't exactly stellar. Mm-hmm. So I don't know that them not having a stellar offensive line hurts them as much as we want to think it will when it comes to playing the Chiefs. So I think that they would struggle against the Chargers. I think the Chargers pass rush will give them fits. So that helps us because I think that the Broncos lose both games to the Chargers, like almost off top because of that. But the J.C. Jackson to the Chargers, it doesn't move me quite as much as you might expect it to. I think they have Derwin James. He's going to be matched up on Kelsey when they play the Chiefs. I think that's a perfect matchup for both sides. Like, you get to see what the two are made of. Like, that is a matchup you just want to intently watch and see what happens. Well, J.C. Jackson, great corner. I don't care how great of a corner you are, you're not running with Tyreek Hill. So it doesn't change the dynamic all that much in regards to them playing against the Chiefs specifically, right? Mm-hmm. It could change the dynamic against maybe the Chargers. The Raiders, who I haven't seen any moves by the Raiders at this time. Mm-hmm. So, but we're how do you feel about the AFC West? Do you think we're still the favorites? And how many games do you think we win it by or lose it by, depending on what your thought is?
Oh, I'm thinking 12-5. I'm going to go with that one. That seems like a comfortable scenario to go with because it could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower, but probably around there. It's going to be very competitive in this AFC West. Everybody is kind of realizing this with Russell Wilson now revamping the Broncos and how close the Raiders were to the playoffs last year. They made it and they got beat by the Bengals, but how close they were to beating the Bengals, the Super Bowl champions. That was a good close game. And so if you think about it like that, and Super Bowl champion. I'm sorry, Super Bowl losers, but they made it to the Super
Bowl. Why they gotta be Super Bowl losers though? Can't they be like the runner-up or
it does sound so bad when you say that.
AFC champions? Like, do we have to call them the losers?
Yeah, well, yeah. If they're the Bengals, I'll call them the Super Bowl losers. But I don't want to call the Chiefs Super Bowl losers of the year before. It just sounds so bad. I didn't even watch that fourth quarter on the Chiefs Super Bowl against the Bucs. I'm sorry, but I was so upset. At that time, I wanted to call them Super Bowl losers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
What's up? I was just going to say this AFC West is going to be real entertaining to watch and see because I think it's going to be more against the Chiefs and the Chargers. Although it's the same story with the Chargers every year. Everybody just, for some reason, thinks so highly of the Chargers at the beginning of the year. And they'll have a hot run at the beginning of the year, but they're the Chargers. And they'll find a way to mess it up like the Lions are near the end of the season. So
I feel like every year the Chiefs win the AFC West, and every year the Chargers are the favorite to win the AFC West. Like, every year before the season starts, like, this is the Chargers' year. Are they the AFC version of the Cowboys?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, but the divisions are totally different. Opposite side of the spectrum. The NFC East just sucks, and the AFC West is probably going to be the best division in football.
Yeah, I don't even know if there's a maybe to it at this point.
No.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to start to hear the AFC best talk for the AFC West very soon. I am certain that we'll start hearing that. So how many games do you think we win the AFC West by?
1.
Okay, interesting. I like it. Do you think it comes down, really comes down to the last week?
Yes. Yes, I do. But it won't feel like that because
I
we'll
ask
probably,
because we could be 2 games up going into the last week, sit
yeah.
all of our starters, lose, the other team wins. Oh, we only won by 1. Do you think it's that, or do you think it's the last week and like if we lose, we have a chance of losing the division?
No, I don't think it'll be that close. I think we're just going to have so much confidence going into these playoffs. Like it's just nothing new, you know? And to see us like lose on the last game near the playoffs, gosh, that seems like so uncustomary of the Chiefs. And we would really be scratching our heads like, what just happened? That, gosh, that would be so heartbreaking. I just don't see it happening. We're going to see the Chiefs win this division, and it's only going to be by 1 game because everybody's going to be beating up on each other in that division. It'll be interesting to see if we can even get a sweep out of either of any one of these teams. We might split them all, you know. If you look at it like that, then it's going to be
if we split with the
even.
Raiders, I quit.
Yeah,
If
that's
we
going to be
split
what,
with the
3 years
Raiders,
in a
I'm
row?
done. I'm done if we split with the Raiders. The Raiders just don't have much firepower now, unless they go out and make some moves. You know, if they were to bring in, you know, an Allen Robinson and bring in some people, then I'll change my tune on them a little bit. But as of right now, like, bro, we better not go out there and split with the Raiders this year.
I can kind of see that happening with the Raiders. They would be the team to sign a real big name wide receiver to replace what they've lost. And Allen Robinson fits the mold, I think. You know,
I agree.
Yeah,
I think it would make sense. You know, let's just avoid that by just bringing Allen Robinson to Kansas City. Then we don't have to worry about it.
yes, that's good. I like the idea.
Yeah, for sure. But I was double checking Twitter and different sites real quick. I wanted to make sure there weren't any like big changes that have occurred since.
Yeah, I've heard news
here.
in the rumorville that they were interested in Jarvis Landry. Maybe getting some words with him.
Yeah, I don't know if that's coming from Arrowhead or if that's just, you know, fan speculation. Okay. We've talked about Landry, right? I mean, I think he's great for third downs. You know, he adds a little bit of veteran leadership. He adds dependability. I told you, I think he's got some of the best hands the NFL's ever seen.
Yeah.
He doesn't add much explosiveness, but he definitely helps out with that underneath, helps out with the third downs. Like, I'd be okay with it. It's not one like I wouldn't be like blown away and, you know, raving about, oh, we got Jarvis Landry, but like I'd be okay with it. You know,
yeah.
As long as we're not spending $15 million a year on Jarvis Landry, like that wouldn't make a lot of sense.
He definitely does deserve 15 if these other guys are getting 10. You know,
no,
like a Zay Jones or
no, can't do it.
No,
no.
Maybe if he was an Amari Cooper for 10.
if he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the guys that are getting way overpaid, they're at least getting like 3-year deals because like they're younger. Yeah. Jarvis Landry is not younger. I don't think you're bringing Landry in on a 3-year deal at this time. If you did, it would, you know, less than half of it would probably be guaranteed money. And it would be guaranteed at the first, maybe second year. That way, if he does decline drastically, you can release him and not have any dead cap, not lose anything on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. He's an Iron Man. That guy he will play through anything, but
yeah, he's a hard-nosed player.
Yeah, he's your style, right?
Yep.
But doesn't look like we have any other news that I'm seeing, nothing breaking. You know, one of these days we'll be doing a show and news will break while we're doing it. It's bound to happen.
I think we was close with the Bobby Wagner thing, but
this
news would be nice. Yeah.
I was pretty close with a couple of them yesterday. I came on and did a quick kind of breaking update when we signed Justin Reed. Got done, and like 5 minutes later, it was like, oh, we're restructuring Frank Clark and Charvarius Ward signed with the Niners. I'm like, and back to the video. Let's go record another. So wanted to give it another look over before we wrap things up here.
Yep. And give them that good news, bad news. So I don't think too many people are really excited about the Frank Clark signing. And not normally would people be excited with, oh, you're getting the same player back. it's not really like new news. If you're getting a new name and a new face, then you get more reaction out of it. But re-signing Clark is just like, oh, so we're paying him that much still?
Yeah, right.
Geez, if we were going to restructure, I'd have cut it down a little bit more than that.
Yeah,
But
for
it's
sure.
not, I guess it's not really up to the Chiefs because, like you said, they owed that to him anyway.
Yeah, we put ourselves in this predicament.
Yeah.
Breaking news. My name is Kevin, and I'm the host of the 12th Man at Arrowhead Drive every Sunday and Wednesday right here on Stadium Drive for sports for all your Chiefs content. It's breaking news because if you didn't know, I have now just broke that news to you. Sean, one more time, let them know where they can find you.
I've got breaking news too. I would tell you, but it's broken. So I'll just tell you where to find my show. It's Mondays, and I'm telling you it'll be Thursdays once the season starts. And you can find me on Stadium Drive Sports under the name and MO of The Royal Way. What's up, Royals Empire? Come join me during the season. We're going to have some fun.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Again, I'm Kevin. He's Sean. This is Stadium Drive Sports. Until next time.
All right, y'all.